Are you ready for more Phoenix Wright? 'Cause I'm ready. October 18th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 4. Maybe the higher number of the courtroom, the better. The court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15th, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer at Studio One of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact, even though you normally present evidence way before the trial happens. I see. Very well. I would like to move on to your testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness. First, I would like to call a familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. Sup, Dick? Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to the court. Yes, sir. I'll explain with the guide map here. To understand the case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studios. See? Here is the employee area. The actors did a run-through of their action scenes during the morning here. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works at the studios was here at 1 p.m. on that day. Past the security station, there at the gate, see? Oh, okay. Past that are the studios. And here it is, Studio 1. This is the scene of the murder, where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were 3 people here. The victim, Jack Hammer, the defendant, Will Powers, and a young woman, the production assistant. Couldn't read that right. All the production staff were here at the employee area until noon. Then after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio 1. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the guard station. Now jump ahead later that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was cancelled. The time of the death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. That's the case in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? Well, maybe the part where you think Will Powers did it. Oh, I don't know. Should I listen to the whole thing and start again? Skip it, I guess? I think I can probably remember that. Okay, it was just for my benefit. Good. So the murder weapon was a spear? How medieval. Alright, more evidence. Your Honor, this case is quite simple if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see? Understood. Let's call the security officer to the stand. Let's. So I guess Detective Gumshoe was just there to tell us what's going on. Okay. Will the witness declare her name? Oh, my, aren't you a handsome fellow? I'm afraid I'm a bit flushed. Your name, please. Oh, dear. No need for you to be embarrassed. Just call me Grandma. Your name, please! Seems Edgeworth has a bit of trouble getting a witness to say their names. Wendy Oldbag, dearie. So you can just call me Grandma. Even though the young people like it, still kind of children make his name, you believe it? Junior high and called me Oldbag and cried because... Oh, you can object. Objection, I object to the witness's talkativeness. Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand. I was just getting to the good part, dearie. Perhaps we can get to the testimony. Now, the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct? Yes, say I was. Yes, see, I was? And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by you? You know your stuff, dearie. You may begin your testimony. She sure is one hell of an old bag. Let's see what you got to say. even though I've probably heard it like 3 times. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest had been doing a run-through since the morning. Well, I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. I was at the main gate from until 5. Now, the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me, because a certain man walked by me at 2 p.m. It was Powers. That man right there. He was heading towards the studio. But you saw the defendant then, hmm? Very well. Let's begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. They don't even know if that was Will Powers in that costume. Okay, let's see. I will press you. So up until that time, anyone could have gone to the studio. Well, there wasn't a security guard at the gate, no. But the main gate was locked, dearie. You need an employee card key to get in. Right, the card key that I have. So, what she's saying is no one wasn't supposed to get in could get in. Ugh. Was there anyone at the studios that arrived at the guard station when you arrived at the guard station? Hammer and the rest have been doing run-through. I don't think I never risked that. Tell me about the part where you had to run an errand. Right, that happened, Okay, hold on. How do you even know? 2? You sure? Sure as spit. Well, who was the man? Really, you should try not to get so excited at your age. You might strain something. Now, don't get your skivvies in a bunch. I'll tell you who it was. Tell me. How do you know? So you saw Mr. Powers? That's what I said. Got wax in your ears, Sonny? Nick, this is your chance. Yeah, time to pull out the secret weapon. I'll say it again. It was him! Okay. I guess this is the part where we throw that picture in her face. We're all like, look at it. How could you... Powers, question mark. Let me get this straight, Oldbag. I mean, Miss Oldbag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? But you're talking about the man in this photo, aren't you? Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. What is this exactly? None other than the Steel Samurai, defender of Neo Old Tokyo. Miss Oldbag. Is this the Mr. Powers that you saw? Of course! Didn't your mama teach you any sense, Sonny? Anyone can plainly see that it's Powers, right? Yeah. Well, I wonder. True, Mr. Powers does play the role of the Steel Samurai. But that doesn't mean that Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai! Falling right for my trap. I know that! I wasn't born yesterday. No one in this court is accusing of that, witness. He's having trouble calling her Oldbag, apparently. However, you do not have the proof that this person in the photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you? Nosy old man. Of course I have proof. What? Huh? Even Edgeworth is surprised. The prosecution would like to ask the witness, please make it known all the information in your position ahead of time. How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? You should be ashamed, all of you. Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me, this isn't any good as evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look. Wow. Old Windbag has left even Edgeworth speechless. She's good. Let's hear about your proof then. Wait, you don't actually have evidence? You're just gonna tell us another testimony? Okay. I never say anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning, during the run-through of the action scene, I saw Powers trip and fall. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. Apparently he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Now, look at that picture. As you can see, he's dragging his leg. See? Clear as day. Now how I knew it was Powers. That's how I knew it was Powers. Happy? So he did sprain... So he had a sprained ankle? Very well. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. She's got to be hiding something. I'll press her until she squeals, which sounds kind of gross. This is why we're getting a retelling of your testimony? Hold it. Whippersnapper! Hey, I haven't said anything yet. I'll have you know I'm not pointing fingers at anyone behind their backs. Everything I've said is on the straight and narrow. The up and up youths today, always whining about each other, pointing fingers that way. It's enough to make an old woman. Mr. Wright, please, for all our sakes, try not to upset the witness. I think Edgeworth has met his match. Alright, they did do that. See, I don't know about that. Hold on. Trip and fall? Yes. And to think, he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai. What a laugh. So Power sprained his ankle. I helped make it better for him, of course. You helped it make it better? I kissed it where it hurt. Let's skip over that part, shall we? Where was the assistant then? Oh, her? She was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. You may continue with your testimony. Broke one of the props. So what prop did he press? Hold on. He broke a prop? Sure did. His own samurai spear. The samurai spear. The murder weapon? Luckily, I was there with my duct tape to fix it. This strikes me as a significant detail. I better write this down on the court record. Okay. So it was broke. Apparently he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Let me look at that steel samurai spear. Steel spear, samurai spear. Or wait, it was broken. Mended with duct tape. Okay. Whoops. I think we've heard enough. Haven't we, Your Honor? Well, there is one thing that bothers me, which is, where is the steel samurai costume now? Actually, well, we couldn't find it. We're looking though. Anyway, it's not that important. That's not important. The witness did see the steel samurai, yes. And it is clear that the person in the steel samurai suit was Mr. Will Powers. I suppose you're right. Are you sure you're sure, Your Honor? Object that shit. We still don't know. Hold it right there. We keep talking possibilities, but we have to agree that the photo shows the steel samurai. Nowhere in that photo we can see Mr. Will Powers. The defense has a point. I also wonder if someone else not caught on camera could have killed Mr. Hammer. We have to consider that a possibility also. Edgeworth's thought of something. Then allow me to remove that doubt from your mind, Your Honor. Will the witness continue her testimony, please? No need to ask twice. Alright, let's hear it. The time of poor Hammer's death was 2:30 p.m., true? The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them. We still don't know that that's Will Powers or not. So if no one else went to that studio, then it could be that it was this steel samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. I'm not sure exactly what to cross-examine about. Hold it. Let's talk about that. How do you know that? Didn't I just explain? I gave donuts to the young detective. And then, after some rubbish about being a secret pal, he told me everything. I see Detective Gumshoe shares his fellow officer's fondness for donuts. The only person I saw... Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Oh, quite, Sonny. Nobody's suspicious looking passed by at all. Nobody's suspicious looking. Right. No one else went there. What about before you got to the guard station? You mean before one? Why, everyone was in the employee area before then. And I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Not to mention, if they had, I would have seen them. Are you sure? Ugh. The witness has answered the question. Anyone going to the studio had passed by the witness. That's right, Sonny. You let him have it, edgy boy. Edgy boy. He's probably thinking the exact same thing. Old Windbag sure has balls, or, well, you know what I mean. Old Windbag's having a way of skipping over important details after all. Or for that matter, entirely forgetting them. How convenient. Something for you to look forward to, perhaps? Because you're gonna get old. Okay, so there's gotta be something here that I have that I can present. Pure space grid. Let's look, let's see. Contradictory Studio 1. Just dragging his leg. The time of poor Hammer's death was 2:30. Well, I guess I still don't see what I'm gonna just present the picture because I don't. It's kind of contradicting there. If she would have seen him, why did she bring in a photo? It's the only thing I can say. Oh, that's right. Hold on. Look at this photograph one more time. This photo was taken by the camera at the gate at the studios, correct? Yes, sirree, Sonny. So, whenever anyone passes by here, it automatically takes a picture. And here I thought you didn't know from your head from the hole in the ground. Right. Anyway, it's also true that the computer at the guard station records all security cam data. Oh, you know, if you wanted to work at the studio, we might have an opening. That very computer printed out this photo. No, that on the back of the photo are printed the words, October 15th, 2 p.m., photo number 2. Even I know what that means. It was taken at 2 p.m. on October 15th. Really, Sonny? Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is that the bed at the end says, photo number 2. Photo number 2? The computer only held the data for one photo that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this photo be photo number 1 if it was really the only photo? It's true. So I guess... Order! Order! Please tell the court what you mean by this, Mr. Wright. Actually, that's what I want to ask the witness. This evidence shows that there are 2 people, not 1, but 2 people that went to that studio that day. Yet there are only data for one of these photos. Who could have erased the data from the other photo? For the other photo? Jeez, someone all over the place. Only someone with access to the security lady herself! Eh? You watch your mouth, Whisper Stepper. The only person I saw that day was Will Powers. But the camera on the gate fired twice. That means 2 people went by. Well, yes. That's what it would seem to mean. Can the witness explain this to the court? I don't understand these newfangled computer things. Edgy boy, help! Huh? But believe me, I want to, but I don't know what this means either. Some help you are. You're a whippersnapper too. Oh, whippersnapper? Something the matter, old Miss Oldbag? Ah, that's right. I just remembered something. Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate. Someone other than the Steel Samurai? Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way. Wouldn't it have just been Jack Hammer? That's... I see. Your testimony, please. The other person. Every day, after I finish the guard duties, I have one other important job to do. I go through the photos recorded on the security computer and check them. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, you know? Come to think of it now, I remember throwing out one photo that day. Miss Oldbag, this is the first I've heard of this. Well, of course, Sonny. I've only just remembered it. Right. Anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin the cross-examination. Well, I'd say this is a turn for the unexpected, but I kinda expected this. Well, I'm gonna press you about every little detail because you're like leaving out a bunch of stuff. Like, what was the photo of? Another job? That's right. I check all the people that pass by the main gate that day. I look closely at every one of the photos and security cameras take. Do you back up all the security camera data? Well, they keep telling me to, yes. But those computers are just so frustrating. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, but they're also important. How exactly do you determine what isn't suspicious looking? Oh, you know, you can tell by the looking on their face, for the most of the part. For most of the part? This is a murder trial, Miss Oldbag. Well, I didn't touch that suspicious looking Will Powers photo, did I? I think she's missing the point. Come to think of it, I remember throwing out one photo. Tell me about it. Well, who the heck was on that photo you erased? A fanboy. Fanboy? Steel Samurai fanboys. Real freaks if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsals from gosh knows where. They're always hanging out. One was there that day. So there wasn't. Well, wait a second. Did you say no one else could get in? I locked the main gate so no one could get in? Those were your words. Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. Yeah, I saw that. The grate that has been loose for a while. It leads outside is what, and well, that's where they come in. They come in through the drain? I told you they were freaks. Oh, and they're kids, children, whippersnappers. Kids? So, on the photo that you erased, it was a boy, probably 2nd or 3rd grade. What? Oh, order. Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on their way to the studios that day. One was the Steel Samurai dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked like to be in 2nd or 3rd grade. Yes. Well, we see his type there every day. Can't stop him. Can't catch him. A boy in 2nd or 3rd grade. I assume it would be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield the samurai spear? Impossible, I think. It's quite heavy. Right. As I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data. Nick, what's going on? I mean, the boy was there. That makes him a suspect. Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him. I'd like to take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information. And no forgetting vital information this time. Oh. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Where are we in? I thought we were in Court 4, so I guess we all moved to one another lobby. Mr. WP? Yes? Tell me straight. Were you really in the dressing room? You didn't go to the studio? I didn't go to the studio. I was sleeping, honest. So, who was the Steel Samurai in that security photo? How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off in the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really. What? You should have taken better care of that stuff. I couldn't imagine anybody wanted to steal the Steel Samurai costume. So, where does this leave me? Doesn't look so good. You're the only likely suspect right now. Nick! But what are we gonna do? First, we can play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could have conceivably have done this. Right. And it'll take them so long to shoot us down that we'll get another day. Right. But if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey, Nick. It's time. Okay, let's go. What does that mean? Please don't sigh like that. I still think it was Miss Oldbag. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on the matter? The prosecution's thoughts are simple. Nothing has changed. The only person who went to the studio was a boy in roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence. but there is no one who else could have committed this crime. I call for the verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. Very well. Mr. Wright, your thoughts? The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. There is another person who could have committed this crime. Crime. Order. Interesting. Let's hear who you have in mind. However, be aware this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized. Right. Great. As if the stakes weren't high enough. So, who is this person other than Mr. Powers who could have committed this murder? Well, not the schoolboy, definitely, because everyone thinks that's possible. It might have been Peony, but I'm not sure, honestly. But the security lady has more anger issues towards Will Powers, and she's like trying to frame him. So it was the security lady, Wendy Oldbag. Who? The Steel Samurai is dragging his leg in the picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about this morning's injury. And maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about that injury. The security lady, Oldbag. What? Whippersnapper? Order. Is this true, Oldbag? Oldbag? That's Miss Oldbag to you. Miss Oldbag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left that post to steal the Steel Samurai costume. Then slipped into Studio 1, the scene of the murder. Why would she go through the trouble wearing the Steel Samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. If she was in the costume, she could point the finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. Oh yeah, right here. Sherlock Holmes 2, baby! That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection of some new damning evidence? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter? The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time. What? What's that supposed to mean? So you all think I did it? Is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there. Do something. What's my move? Maybe now's my chance to take this the whole way. Press further. Of course, always press further. The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Mrs. Oldbag's actions on that day. But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer? You forgot that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope. Wait just a minute. What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy. The one whose photo I erased. He's only a grade schooler though. As you said, 2nd or 3rd grade, was it? That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds, tops! Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? That boy is not the killer. What? How could you be so sure? Oh, or is it the nice to the kids and mean to the elders day? Whippersnapper. I have proof. Proof? Indeed. Then let's see the proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed the murder? Oh, the card key because he couldn't get in. The scene of the murder, as we all know, was Studio 1. However, you need a card key to enter Studio 1. How could the boy with no formal relation to the studios have a card key? I see. Well, would the witness care to comment on this? The Windbag, speechless. This has got to be the first. Very well. This court will now suspend proceedings on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Wendy. What was her name? Something Oldbag, Your Honor. Then the prosecution will look further into Oldbag before continuing. That is all. The court is adjourned. Well, wait a second. I'm not just going to sit here and be run off barking up the wrong tree. Me. I'm talking. Oh, great. Stop the presses. The windbag wants to talk. Oh, Mrs. Windbag, what is this all about? Have you omitted something from your testimony again? Actually, you must know there's something I was told not to talk about. Not talk about? By whom? You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk about? Well, testify. Oh, another one. I didn't expect this. Globe Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people in the studio that day of the murder. They said they had nothing to do with it, see? So they told me to just pretend that they hadn't been at the studio that day. But if you're going to go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free. Oh, but Mrs. Oldbag, this is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now? Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap, and I always do what I'm told. No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of Oldbag. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. I get to cross-examine this? Alright, let's do it. Home Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. What did they want you to keep quiet about? So you were told not to talk? That's right. By the studio and TV bigwigs, no less. Why didn't I hear about this? Don't be too hard on yourself, Sonny. We were all in on it. There were some other people at the studio on that day of the murder. Who are these people? Well, the director and the producer for starters. The director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scenes without a director? Of course. Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it. So, where were these people? The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime. They had their meeting after that. Where? Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer. Studio 2? There was a Studio 2? Well, if you looked at the guide map, here it is. You go through the gate and all the way to the left. But there was a tree there. The path where the monkey's head was fallen over. Well, Mr. Wright, would you like to continue the cross-examination? I think I've already asked all my questions, but... well, if we asked all my questions, then I'll take a break. Your Honor, we have learned that there was others at the Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the producer and some bigwigs were all present, silly me. Yet, as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these people we've just been told of. I understand, Your Honor. This ends today's proceedings in the trial of Mr. Will Powers. That is all. The court is adjourned. District Court. Defendant lobby number 3. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me. Ah, really, it's nothing. Or I should have. Oh, or I should. We'll be going down to the studios to do some more investigation. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning out the next trial as witnesses, for certain. So, now's my chance to get material for the cross-examination. So, Nick, have we figured out just who was in the Steel Samurai costume? Could it really been Miss Oldbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really. Neither do I, Nick. Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers. Poor old Windbag. I kind of feel sorry for her. Well, she isn't winning any points in there, or without my Well, wasn't winning any points in there with or without my accusation. Okay, let's get down to the studios. Right. Well, we'll be back to visit you soon. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Bum ba dun ba bum.